Welcome to 28.5 Women's Basketball, where we explore a unique and authentic perspective on the women's game, break down upcoming matchups, and discuss the latest news and trends in women's basketball. We are your hosts. I'm Sydney Story, and I played basketball at the University of Tennessee under Pat Summitt.
And I'm Becca Goodman, and I played at the University of Notre Dame under Muffet McGraw. And we're thrilled to have you join us today. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoy what you hear, be sure to tune in each week and don't forget to follow, download, and listen to give an assist and share the love. Now let's get started with today's episode. Hey, Sid, how's it going?
Hey, Beck. Going well. How are you?
Things are good. It's another week, another crazy week of basketball, the good, the bad, the ugly that always happens in college sports at this point in time. But it's been good and just entertaining to watch overall. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think our comments were, it was a weird week.
Weird.
Like the comments on some of the wins and the losses and back to back. We're seeing it in conference play. So it's super entertaining right now to turn on women's college basketball, to say the least.
If you're not watching it, tune in. Subscribe to us to catch up on what's happening, but absolutely tune into those games because it is gold right now. And then with NIL, it only sprinkles in added difficulty and who knows what else is going on that court, right? So I think we should jump in. We have quite a bit today. We're going to keep it a bit shorter. There's so many games going on that we're just going to highlight kind of what happened, where going forward, what's coming up. But I want to jump in and just go over our quarters really quick. First one is going to be updates, a follow-up on the NCAA rules. We touched base on that. I believe it was last week or the week before in our episode. So we have an update. Second quarter is going to be some Thursday games. There's quite a bit happening there. Third quarter, high level, just some midseason rankings of the players by ESPN right now. So top 25 players. We're going to dig into maybe the top 10. Fourth quarter is, conference play is hard. Period. It is insane. I think Sunday and Saturday's games were living proof of that, that conference wears on you. So we're going to touch base on those. And then our quick overtime is just the upcoming matchups. It's absolutely a loaded week today, especially Monday the 19th, tons of games. Tune in tonight. Today it's happening and they're good. So let's get rolling.
And it's worth noting, too, we're recording this at 6 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday, so there's a lot of games that are still going to happen, are going on right now. We might miss some things. I know there's a good matchup between Iowa and Michigan State. Shout out Keena, who has a wager with me on who's going to win that one. She's a huge Iowa fan. I took Michigan State because Dean Lockwood, my old coach, so that'll be I think that's a good game tonight that's still going to happen. So It's tough for us to catch them all and record them all and drop it for Monday. But just a call out that there's still games going on that we're not even going to be able to highlight.
Yeah, it's tough to turn this around so quick and get it launched and loaded, ready to go for tomorrow morning. So
that's right.
We do a pretty good job. It's just really that one game and we could touch base on it next week for sure.
We will. I think we should. We owe some Hawkeye fans a little bit more Iowa love. Heading into tonight, them and UCLA are the only two undefeated in Big Ten conference play. So Iowa's certainly off to a great start here in conference. We'll see how they do tonight. And this is Sunday again against Michigan State. So, all right, let's jump in. You got it. Quarter one.
Yeah, first quarter. So just following up on the NCAA rules, when we touched on it, I believe 2 weeks ago, there was talk about the window changing. It was talk about the rules changing, talk about if a coach changes. So we just wanted to follow back up, tie a bow on the fact that the NCAA approved new rules for men and women's basketball transfer portal. Effective immediately. Thank goodness. They shortened the main transfer window to just 15 days and delayed its opening until after the national championship games. Smart. So flippin' smart. I don't understand why this wasn't like the initial thought, but I think lesson learned. People are moving and grooving the whole season, and I think every discussion and conversation that players and coaches have affects how that player goes out on the court every day. So I'm glad this got punted back. I'm glad it was like, hey, do what you want to do, because players now have the initiative to really follow through in the full season to not only win for their team and their program, but in the back of their head, they're wanting their own, to line their pockets, make their money, get their worth by continuing to play great the whole season. Sid, what are your thoughts on this one?
I'm a huge fan of this. I'm glad they can make quick decisions like this. Really, they're changing it, like you said, middle of season here. I think college football needs to take some notes. There's a lot in the college football game that's kind of crazy with some of this. So I'm with you. I think it forces players to continue to focus on the full season. That's so much better for their teams, their coaches, and the fans. Like, I like that, knowing that their heads in it to win it through the whole season. They're wanting to play through. Yeah, they're committed. They're wanting to play through March Madness and really show out. And like, to your point, the more they do that, the more money some of these players are going to make with NIL and all that comes with it. So I think this is a great decision for the transfer portal.
Yeah. So just a bit more info on it, right? So the transfer is now 15 days long. It opens after the national championship game for each sport. It prevents transfer period from overlapping with the tournament. So the women's will run from April 6th to the 20th, and the men's will be from April 7th to the 21st. Check. All good there. Obviously, we mentioned the whole coaching change exceptions. That is a specific 15-day transfer window that now opens for players whose head coach departs. The window begins 5 days after a new head coach is publicly announced or hired, allowing that staff time to meet the current players. If a new coach is not announced within 30 days of the previous coach's departure, and it's after the national championship game, the 15-day window opens on the 31st of that day. So again, that's a bit more complicated, but a coaching change and school shifting, that in itself is complicated. So I understand that being so specific and players needing time to adjust. Sid, what do you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Across the board, I'm happy that all this is getting tweaked. I think for me, you hit every talking point. I think it's just good overall. So I'm happy to see all of this, I guess. And I think it's good for our game. Like, we really need to make sure. So much has evolved in the past few years around the transfer portal, around NIL. I mean, it's really is a different landscape for college coaches, for the players that play at these universities, for the universities themselves. So I'm happy to see that they're tightening up on some of these rules, period. So I'm for it all.
Yep. Last little one, midseason transfers. They're no longer eligible to compete for the second school in the same academic year. So if they're enrolled at a school during the first semester, regardless of whether they competed or not, they can't just transfer midway through the season and start playing on another team. Smart.
Like
also makes sense because people are hopping all over the place. And I also think, Sid, just highlighting this, maybe another rule change will have to change coming up based on our discussion with the South Carolina-Texas game that we'll get into. But I think these are good. I stamp it. I love it. Should have been there in the beginning, but lessons learned, and moving forward, hopefully we provide more structure for sure.
Becca, thank you for the update there on those, I think, very important rules to our game, especially on that transfer portal, because that is absolutely crazy right now. Let's jump into our second quarter. So we're going to highlight the games from this past Thursday. And boy, there were some really good ones, right? We talked about it in the last episode, heading into the Thursday matchups, and they did not disappoint. I think, to me, the main game was the South Carolina, who was ranked number 2 at the time, versus number 4 Texas. That game was that rematch from the game earlier that happened in Vegas, where Texas took down South Carolina. So it really was that grunge match. It was at South Carolina, this game. South Carolina won it 68-65. It was a really good game. I think in watching it, some of the highlights to me, South Carolina looked like South Carolina. They had balanced scoring. They had 5 players in double figures, almost 6. I mean, it was close. One other player had 8 points. And when South Carolina is deep like that, when they've got a lot of girls scoring points, they're very hard to beat. And if you look at it, I mean, it wasn't a huge high-scoring game. I mean, the final was 68-65, but it just shows how South Carolina shared the ball. Joyce Edwards led scorers on the South Carolina side with 14. So it's not like somebody on South Carolina came out and just had like a crazy scoring night, but Joyce Edwards played so well. I just thought she was one of the steady eddies on the floor for South Carolina. She looked more like herself. She looked comfortable with the ball. She looked comfortable in all her motion. I just thought she was kind of the glue for South Carolina in the game. But you have to highlight Madison Booker. She still shows up and shows out in this game. She had 24 points, so she did lead all scorers with those 24. Rory Harmon came back, had 16. There was a lot of talk around how she She didn't play well the game before against LSU, sat out most of the fourth quarter because her play was so bad in that game. She came back this game. She really had a much better game. So that was really good to see. I think for her, she had 3 turnovers, 5 assists, 16 points, 6 for 12 from the field. So she really went to work, and she was just telling all the announcers and everyone before the game that she was not going to let that happen again. Her LSU performance to her was just unacceptable. So to see her come back, I mean, she really is truly one of the better point guards in the country right now, but not enough. Not enough for what Booker and Harmon brought. South Carolina was ready to play. Their 6th man, to me, truly was their home court advantage. I think it's tough to play at South Carolina right now. I think their fans get up. I think they love Dawn. I think they love everything she's done for the program, and that shines through in some of these big games. And I think we may see this one again, right? They're not going to play each other again in the SEC regular season, but they could play each other in the SEC tournament, and they could certainly play each other again in March Madness. So if we see this matchup again, I just think both teams are going to go at it. What are your thoughts on this one, Becca?
Yeah, I think this game coming into it, we knew it would be a battle. We knew South Carolina would be out for that rematch, wanting to set the record straight. Completely agree with you on Booker just being smooth, but South Carolina looked as a whole team. They really played well together, playing at home. Different engine there, right? That's 6th man, but also 10,000 extra people just roaring the crowd up. So I think all in all, I thought it was a really good game. It was close at times. South Carolina really brought pressure defensively. Texas struggled at some points. But what I want to discuss specifically is the add-on to the South Carolina roster. That's kind of, I feel, gone under the radar slightly. Maybe I missed it, but I had to look for this. So South Carolina decided to add a foreign player from France. Alicia, I'm not going to try to pronounce her last name. She's a 6'7" forward who joined midseason, bringing professional experience, dunking ability, and a high upside when it comes from France's Euro League abroad. We talked about, right, the player from Nigeria that's going to Texas Tech. So that is a 7'1" player coming in midseason. And now we're looking at South Carolina adding a 6'7". We know players can transfer in midseason in general, right? Girls can graduate early, come early. I think Olivia Miles actually did that. So that's all fine and well. But I think the curveball with this is women overseas are able to play professionally and on the national team and make money off of it, even in high school and college time. There's no real age specific locked in. Even when we were playing overseas, Finland, Ukraine, we had girls who were 15, 16 on the roster getting paid, but also going to school, doing a job, and then coming to our practices, right? So I think this adds another level of just difficulty when you're bringing in pros from abroad. I think this is another level of nuts, which I'm not knocking our coaches for that. I mean, it's an outside of the box thinking, but it makes sense. I mean, if you think about all the drama of people wanting money here stateside, these girls just might want to come to the States, be able to play and get an education. So it's almost like going back to what the U.S. and players just within the States found value in. That's what maybe these players are getting abroad. I'm not doubting they're also getting money in addition to it, but maybe it's just not as crazy as some of these girls stateside are asking for.
I thought it was interesting. They kind of give the background, right? When she checked in, the South Carolina crowd was cheering her on and all that stuff. And I think it's cool, but it's also a little bit different. I think it'll be interesting to see if there's other coaches that replicate this. I think as a former teammate, former player myself, I thought about how hard preseason was and all the work you put in and all the preparation and all those hours you put in the gym as a team, as a unit. And I could see how this is maybe a little bit disruptive when you've got somebody fresh coming in and they're learning the plays and then all of a sudden they're getting minutes. And I just think it's a weird dynamic to come in halfway through the season and get playing time. I mean, she didn't play a ton. They checked her in. If anything, she was a little bit invisible, I thought. She didn't really do a ton when she was out there. And we'll see what type of player she ends up being. Apparently, she wasn't playing a ton on the professional team over in France, and she was going to come in next year and play for Dawn. And Dawn, we had a meeting with her, and they just said, "Hey, why don't you come play now?" And so they figured out the rule and saw that she was eligible and slotted her in. So it'll just be interesting to see if she really makes a huge impact this year or not. I think she's capable of it. She's certainly got the height for it, the body for it. But I wasn't overly impressed with her. But again, this is just one player doing this. And is this setting a new precedent, to your point? Are we going to see more of this in future years? It's kind of crazy. As a fan, too, watching it, I don't like when the teams change halfway through the season. So I'm hoping that we don't see more and more of this.
Her just coming in, being a freshman, getting 5 minutes, trying to get a flow and feel of the game. Totally understandable that that's all going to take time. I am interested to see when and if the Texas Tech transfer in from abroad as well. She's 7-1. When and if she gets some playing time and when she can, and just how she flows and goes, right? Because as you mentioned, there's definitely some weeks, months, couple months just to get ready and learn the plays and learn defensively what they do. And it's definitely interesting and a unique situation that I think these coaches are starting to tap into this market over there, get some tall athletic players. I mean, this girl from France for South Carolina can dunk on the regular. Yeah. So it's going to add different skill sets to our game, which is amazing. It's just playing within the rules and bounds of what it is. And obviously they're able to transfer midseason. That is possible, right? I don't really know how this portal change will affect that, right? They did say if you had to be academically enrolled. So this is almost that loophole, right? She's not academically enrolled anywhere in the first semester, but they can bring them in from overseas and start playing right away mid season. So
it's crazy.
I already have a little loophole there if you want to go abroad and get some players.
Yeah, right. And now, I mean, you think about college coaches, the recruiting landscape is just insane. You're recruiting all the time. And now it's been global, but it's really global, even within season now. So it's certainly an interesting dynamic. The next game we want to jump to that happened this past Thursday, number 9 Louisville defeated number 23 Notre Dame 79-66. And Becca, certainly I'll have you jump in here. For me, we go to Notre Dame's depth. They played 6 players. Louisville is arguably one of the better teams, if not the best team in the ACC. I mean, we're going to see how it all shapes out. It's a long conference season, but I don't know. It's Notre Dame's going to struggle against good teams because they don't have the depth right now. It continues to be the takeaway.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. I thought we started the game strong, but we only went 6 deep, as you mentioned, and the one we brought in was Sanchez off the bench in the first half, and she only played 9 minutes and scored 2 points. So we got 2 bench points, and then we didn't sub anybody the second half of the game. So no subs, all 5, all starters, run and gun the whole time. Thankfully, nobody fouled out, or I don't know what we would have really done. Louisville, on the other hand, they go 4 deep, and they got 31 bench points. So when you look at that, Notre Dame has 2 bench points, and Louisville has 31. How do you even compete with that? It doesn't even matter what happens in the game at that point. The 5 starters, the 10 that are out there. If you're not bringing in people or don't have anyone to bring in, you're automatically at a disadvantage. When I'm looking at these stats as a whole, foul count was even. Turnovers was a very low turnover game. Louisville only had 8. Notre Dame had 10. That's pretty amazing at any level,
pretty
honestly.
Clean. Yep.
Yeah. Assist-wise even, rebounds pretty even. It's just the fact that we did not have additional people to come in and make shots, right? So Hannah was Hannahing. She had her 24 points. Really was the fire that we needed and had, and I don't know what would have happened if she wasn't herself. The thing that kind of drives me bonkers, and it's just going to be what it is, and that's really sad, and I don't like to say it, is, the press conference, they're asking Niele and Hannah about the depth. They're asking these questions, and they ask, you don't have any subs, you don't sub anybody the whole second half, and it's just understood now. They're just taking it as that's what it is. I'm over here go abroad and get one of these 6.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I agree.
No, but Hannah handled it really well, just saying it is what it is. We have to accept it. We know that that's our situation. We just have to play through it. So it's kind of like they're just swallowing the situation and making the best of it. But it's tough to see. And I just want to give a shout out. I never thought I would say this to Louisville. Sid, do you remember when we talked about them
Mm-hmm.
the first couple weeks? It was like they're trying to find their rhythm, they're trying to find their identity. I think they have like 8 or 9 abroad players. One of the teams with the biggest abroad
Yeah,
presence of players, and they're rolling. They're absolutely rolling. They have a girl that comes in off the bench, not somebody abroad, but Raina Scott. She had 20 points just off the bench in one player. That is
right.
guaranteed somebody who you could damn near start. So at this point, it's tough to see other teams have bench players that can come in and basically be starters, and Notre Dame doesn't have a bench to put in. It's just tough. So shout out to Louisville for being top 10, handling their own, competing, and just getting it done. I'm really, they've really turned the corner in the best way possible. And if they keep getting better, they're going to be a huge threat come conference play and tournament.
Yeah, if they stay on this trajectory, I think they're going to get a really good seed coming into
Yeah,
the tournament, into March
for sure.
Madness. So, and obviously, there's a lot of games to play before all that happens, but this is something that's going to help them. Any time you beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame is a solid win. Like, I don't care if
Yeah.
Notre Dame's on a down year or not. It's tough to play at Notre Dame, and they came in and they won 79-66. So it was a pretty big beaten there for Notre Dame, but we'll see how Notre Dame responds. It's a long season, a lot of games to go, so we'll see how that goes. The next one here we wanted to hit is number 15 Michigan State defeating number 24 Nebraska 73-71. This one was a real close game. Michigan State continuing to roll on a little bit there in the Big Ten. The next one, number 8 Michigan taking care of business against number 25 Illinois 85-69. Number 12 Maryland defeated unranked USC 62-55. Turn around, and we're going to talk about it. Maryland didn't look so hot on Sunday, but it was a good win on Thursday against USC. The next one, number 11 Iowa beats Oregon 74-66. And then the other one we wanted to highlight is number 21 Alabama losing to unranked Auburn 54-58. Alabama turns around and loses again to Tennessee at Alabama, which they had won, I think they said 13 in a row at Alabama. So it's a good road win for Tennessee there. Tennessee ranked 20 when they beat number 21 Alabama. So a lot of conference matchups going on, a lot of teams beating up other teams. Thursday was certainly a great night for women's college basketball.
Okay, jumping into our third quarter where we're going to highlight ESPN's midseason rankings by player. So we're just going to go through the top 10 really quick. Some of these make sense. Some of them stand as they are. And I mean, the proof is in the pudding and the play. But let's just run through the top 10 and then Sid and I will chat on a few of these. Number 1, I think is unanimous. Number 1 is Sarah Strong from UConn. She's a sophomore averaging 18 points a game. Her team's undefeated. Absolutely a dominant player inside and out. Number 2, Madison Booker from Texas. Again, we already highlighted how amazing Madison is and just her overall play and where her team is at right now, right? These two players are from a top 4 team. So UConn rolling in at number 1, that makes sense. And Madison Booker, them having their success and just recent loss, it's only going to make them better. Number 3 is Michaela Blakes from Vandy, who I think is having an amazing sophomore season. Vandy is one of the only 2 remaining teams that are undefeated with UConn. She's averaging almost 25 points a game. I think that's huge for her. I think Shea Ralph and the Vanderbilt program is really doing things right, building it from the ground up and really making a statement. Number 4 is AZ Fudd from UConn. In her own right, 17 points a game, borderline almost 18. That's why UConn is number 1 and undefeated and rolling, right? So AZ Fudd, Sarah Strong definitely deserve to be in the top 5. Number 5 is Olivia Miles from TCU, the transfer from Notre Dame to TCU, averaging 19 points a game. Really, preseason, she was 6, so she's kind of staying in the same boat, but I think maybe this is a topic for discussion for us a little later. TCU just had one of their first losses, so I know she's like the triple-double queen. This is something that she comes in and does. She's an assist machine, but she also likes to get her buckets in her own right. Number 6, Lauren Betts from UCLA, a 6'7" senior. Points are a little bit down, 16. I mean, she has a team around her. She doesn't have to put up 20, 25. She's not like Audie Crooks where if she doesn't have her 30, they're not going to win. So I think all in all, Lauren is, doing what she's supposed to do for her team to make them successful and be, a top 10 program. Number 7, Hannah Hidalgo from Notre Dame, averaging over 25 points a game. I mean, Hannah is the glue, the engine, the motor, the parts of a car. If we don't have Hannah at Notre Dame, I really don't know. It's a terrible thought to even think about. So I'm just going to move on. Number 8 is Audie Crooks at Iowa State, averaging 27.6 points a game. Iowa State as a whole have really dropped. They're on a 5-game losing streak right now. They do not have one of their go-to players, which I would call the glue of Iowa State, Addie Brown. She's suffering a lower body injury, so that's affecting the team. But Audie Crooks is doing Audie Crooks things, right? 27 points per game, holding their own. Number 9, Joyce Edwards from South Carolina. Sid mentioned her and spoke very highly of her during that Texas-South Carolina game. She is a power forward who just seems to always make the most out of every possession she's involved in, averaging just over 20 points a game, and rightfully so in the top 10. And finally, the last one we're going to just highlight really quick is the number 10 spot, Rory Harmon from Texas. This is what I think is interesting. She's averaging only 8.7 points per game, but for her, she is the point guard of that team. She is the one that gets them in rhythm. She's so important to that team. And when you have players like Old Acre and Madison Booker and all their guards that can hit and knock down shots, without Rory Harmon doing her job, they are unsuccessful, which is, I think, what we highlighted just a little bit during that LSU loss. So those are the top 10 mid-season rankings by player for ESPN. Sid, what do you think of these? Do any fit for you? Any you would swap or change or just overall have an opinion on?
I agree with a lot of these. Like certainly the top 10, I think all makes sense. It's interesting to look and see Hannah Hidalgo ranked below Olivia Miles. I think that one's an interesting one. I think it's because TCU is just the better team right now. And I think that's maybe matters a little bit here in the rankings, because if you ask me, Hannah Hidalgo is a top 5 player in the country right now, hands down. And I totally agree with the Rory Harmon comments. Like, if you look at the stats for all these other players, she doesn't even touch the points per game, but she is so good for Texas. Every game, I think they comment how she's the best point guard Texas has ever had, right? So I think that's worth noting. And if you watch her play, she is truly the quarterback on the floor for them, and arguably the best point guard in the country, if you ask me, like overall point guard. I think the top 5 makes sense. The only thing that I'm hesitant on is I think Audie Crooks is a top 5 player in the country right now.
I was just going to completely agree with the fact these are players, so they shouldn't have the team success and failure shouldn't have any input on this. And I just think Hannah and Audie should be in the top 5. But
Me
then
too.
When you look at it, it's like, who would you knock out? Because all these players are so good too. But that's where I think you can move Lauren Betts down, and maybe even AZ Fudd, which I think that's crazy to say. But her, when you go on points per game, Michaela Blake's has her almost 25. Madison has almost 20. I just think those are the two that you could swap out for those two. Again, all of these players are absolutely amazing. I just think if you're going off points per game and impact for the team, like if Audie and Hannah didn't play, it would be blowouts by almost 50 to anyone they played against. And I truly believe
so
that.
True. It's so true. I think hands down, we've been saying this all season, Sarah Strong is the number 1 player in the country. Yeah. I agree with it. That one's easy. Madison Booker at number 2. That's an easy call also because she is so good for Texas. I think after that, that's where it gets interesting. Like Michaela Blake's number 3. Sure. I'm like, absolutely. Yeah. What she does for Vanderbilt, she is that person for Vanderbilt. If Vanderbilt didn't have Michaela Blake, they're not undefeated right now for sure. And maybe are like, I don't know, 500 team. Maybe they win 3/4 of their games. Like what she does by scoring 25 points per game for Vanderbilt is just unreal. And I think for Michaela Blake's, if you watch some of those Vanderbilt games, and we're going to see it when they play Michigan coming up here tonight, or today, I just think she sees all these different defenses thrown at her, and Michaela Blake still comes out there and scores 25 points per game. Like, it's just, that girl can flat out score. I totally agree with the AZ Fudd comment. I don't think AZ Fudd is a top 5 player right now, which is, I'm not knocking AZ Fudd. She's an amazing player. Like, we're talking in the entire country and who's producing the most, I don't think AZ Fudd maybe belongs in the top 5, which is maybe a little crazy for some folks out there. I just think the Hannah Hidalgos of the world are next level. Like Hannah Hidalgo is, if you watch her, even if you don't even watch her offensive game, you just watch her on defense. You're like, wow, this girl is doing something different, even just on the defensive end. I mean, she is every possession going as hard as she can, doesn't take a possession off, and just disrupts the other team's offense so much. And that's not even talking about her offensive game. So I don't know if AZ Fudd brings that same. They're different players. I think the other part that's tough about this too is it's all different positions.
Yes.
So I mean, we're talking like Lauren Betts, who's a 6'7" post player, versus Rory Harmon, who's how tall is Rory? Not very tall, right? Pretty small.
Yeah.
She's a little point guard. So I mean, it's a whole range of players too, and everyone brings something different to the game based on what position they play. So that's tough here too, obviously too.
No, I completely agree. I think if you're looking just based on player importance per team, not the team itself and what it's done, I think you could definitely swap some of those out. But again, just midseason ESPN ranking by of players. So just something news and noteworthy, thought to bring it up and just kind of something to discuss about. So that's our third quarter.
All right, let's jump into our fourth quarter. And the title is Conference Play is Hard. I think we say that at least three podcast episodes in a row. We've been saying conference play is hard because it is. It's just such a grind. And you've got to turn around. You've got to play multiple games in a week, and you're traveling, and every team is scouting you like crazy. Coaches know each other's tendencies over time. Like it is very tough. But let's jump into it. On Saturday, undefeated at the time, Texas Tech lost. So they suffered their first loss against unranked Kansas State at home, 59-65. So pretty low scoring game there. Kansas State was a 9-9 team at the time. So not a very good team that lost there. So that's a big loss for Texas Tech. That leaves 2 undefeated teams left, UConn and Vanderbilt. So I think Vandy might have their hands full today against Michigan. We're going to see. I think Michigan is more well-rounded. They've got more players that can score. I think if they put the game plan together and they actually come out and play Michigan ball, I think they can beat Vandy. It's going to be interesting. That game I'm like very excited about.
I watched this Texas Tech game and it was insanely weird how Texas Tech was out of sorts. But in the end of the fourth quarter, they only had their 3rd offensive rebound.
Crazy.
Like, how does that even happen? The stats were just off the charts. You could tell the ebb and flow was just completely off, and Kansas State played amazing. And this was at Texas Tech. So you're undefeated. You're rolling at 19-0. You're at your home crowd, and you're playing a 9-9 team. This is almost a Cincinnati upset Iowa State on the road. So this was one that I just think happens. No team, it's so hard to be undefeated. And it's not that we're highlighting that as like that's the goal. It's something to be absolutely amazed if you're able to achieve. UConn has done that before. I just think it was cool to see other teams like Texas Tech and Vandy and all these ones kind of hold and keep that record for so long. But as we mentioned, Texas Tech is going to start seeing a bit more of the juggernauts of their conference play. So I expect a couple more L's to possibly pop up for sure.
Yep, totally agree. And then on Sunday, so yesterday, January 18th, we have a ranked loss. Number 16, Ole Miss lost to unranked Georgia, 59-82. I think Georgia's scary right now. Like the middle of the SEC conference could upset some teams like an LSU or a Texas or a South Carolina. You never know. And certainly I think is going to take care of business against the bottom half of the conference. But that middle of the SEC right now is going to shuffle quite a bit. And I think Georgia is right in the middle of the pack. I don't think they're on a lot of people's radar, but I think they're tough, especially having played there before at Georgia. It's a tough environment. I know Tennessee's got Georgia coming up here in a tough 4 or 5 game streak that's going to be coming up. I'm a little nervous for Tennessee against Georgia, to be honest, because I think Georgia brings it right now. That's a good win for them against Ole Miss. The second one here we wanted to highlight, another ranked loss, number 19, Iowa State loses to unranked Oklahoma State, 58-86. So like another blowout here a little bit. Like if you look at both those scores, we talked about the Ole Miss Georgia game, it was 59-82. This game's 58-86. Just weird, right? It was just a weird feel going on Sunday with some of these scores. A fun fact here, the Cyclones' next game is a rematch against Cincinnati on Wednesday, the 21st, a team who beat them by 8 for their second loss of the season, and we highlighted that the last episode. So we'll see how they turn around and respond here, Iowa State. And then the rank loss, number 7, Kentucky lost to unranked Mississippi State, 59-71. I watched that one a little bit on Sunday, and Kentucky just looked flat, and Mississippi State had nothing to lose in this game. I think that nothing to lose might be the theme. Like teams that, are on paper shouldn't be competing even, and turned around on Sunday and ended up winning by 20 plus is kind of amazing. So Kentucky loses to Mississippi State there. Number 20, Tennessee, as I mentioned, beat number 21, Alabama, 70-59. It's a good road win for the Lady Vols there. Happy to see that one. Number 6, LSU defeated number 13, Oklahoma, 91-72. What were your thoughts on this one, Becca? I was a little disappointed in Oklahoma in this game, but I'm curious what you thought.
They're out of it. Something's off. Something is off. I just think their last 2 losses have been pretty bad, like significant loss. Something's off. Reagan Beers is getting into foul trouble more. It also seems like it's harder for them to get the ball into her, but that shouldn't impact Peyton Verhulst and their guard play, Chavez, as much as it is. They still need to come out and compete. I think it's almost an advantage if you have, defenses are now turning things up. They're understanding, like, we got to, pack it inside. But if it's packed inside, you got to move the ball more to get open shots, and you got to knock them down. That's just so important for your guards to keep the defense honest, to then move out, play you, and then you can get it back into Reagan for a one-on-one inside. I just think something's off. They're a little out of whack right now. And this was a tough one today. It just seemed like they didn't have that fight. They had it at times towards the end of the game when they were almost down 20. They came back. They went on like a 9-0 run, and, Peyton Verhulst got hot, but it's again, this conference play and this grind, it's just hard. And you're going to have games where your legs feel like jello. Maybe you're just off. Maybe you've been traveling and you just got back and it's the beginning of the year. There's just so many pieces that goes into a college athlete that affects you on the court and you don't realize it. But this is your job to a degree. So it's hard to be on every single night. Losses happen, but I definitely think Oklahoma's a little out of it for sure.
I'm with you. I think that's the story there, is a little bit of a letdown on the Oklahoma side. We'll see how they respond. But we have to also mention that LSU's been playing well.
Yes.
So we can't take that away from LSU. I think they're showing their depth right now. They're showing how many girls they have that can flat out score. And that's scary. If they're clicking on all cylinders, LSU is a really good team and potentially a Final Four contender. So it's interesting to see how LSU has responded coming into conference play here. Pretty strong start for them. And then number 9, Louisville beats NC State in overtime, 88-80. So absolutely dominated the overtime there by outscoring them by 8 points in overtime. On paper, coming into Sunday, I was like, oh, I'm excited for this game. I had a feeling it was going to be a close one and a barn burner in the end, just because both teams, to me, are kind of neck and neck right now. NC State was not ranked coming into this one. They were ranked in the top 10 to start the year, but they had such a tough schedule at the beginning of the season where they just really suffered a lot of losses and kind of fell out of the top 25. But NC State's still a really good team. And so is Louisville right now. So I just think that was a really good matchup. And to see Louisville win this one, I think speaks volumes to, again, how Louisville is playing. The last one here, number 3, UCLA beats number 12, Maryland, 99-67. Maryland didn't stand a chance. They were down by 12 at halftime, and UCLA came out in that second half and absolutely just put the nail in the coffin. It's a sign of a really good team. When they come out at home, they play a decent first half, and Corey Close, I think she's a great coach, got her team going at halftime. I don't think they had to adjust a ton at half. Brenda Fries, I probably tried, but I just think UCLA is really good right now. We talk about how the top 4 or 5 teams in the country are kind of in a league of their own right now, and UCLA certainly is fitting right in with those top tier teams right now. I just thought from player to player, UCLA looked really good, and I think Maryland's going to have to turn it around a little bit, right? They're ranked 12 heading into this game, and they're a really good team. Brenda Fries is a really good coach, but you've got to be able to compete with some of the top right now to to make it into the Final Four come tournament time. And I don't think Maryland's a Final Four team right now. I think UCLA certainly is.
Yeah, it just looked like UCLA was having fun. They were playing a top 20 team ranked. Maryland had every right to be in that game and compete and make it competitive. And I just think UCLA was just firing on all cylinders and having fun doing it. So it was beautiful basketball to watch because, if you would have looked, conference plays hard in this category, this quarter, but to see a number 3, especially UCLA, just kind of get rolling and continue to do so, I thought it was good basketball to see. Stinks for Maryland, though, without a doubt. All right, let's go into our quick overtime where we're just going to highlight some upcoming matchups. Everybody, I need you to tune in today. I know some people have it as a holiday. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. If you don't, try to have it on in the background. Today on Fox, we have a crazy lineup of great games. Number 14, again, these rankings are at the time. They're going to change today, right? Number 14, Ohio State plays number 10, TCU at noon Eastern. I think that's going to be an insanely good game. A lot of guard play there. Interested to see how that one shakes out. As we've highlighted previously, number 5, Vandy plays number 8, Michigan at 2:30 Eastern. I think that's a game where Vandy needs to, it's a test for Vandy more so than Michigan, but I think Michigan has every right to cause this upset, and it could definitely happen. Another one we're highlighting that's just going to be rough, but I'm absolutely tuning in. Number 23, Notre Dame plays number 1, UConn at 5 p.m. Eastern, and it's on the road at UConn. So it's going to be the first time for a lot of these girls to see a Notre Dame versus UConn matchup and just how intense it is, especially at UConn. Sid, what are your thoughts for today's games, and which one are you locked into?
I think when UConn steps out of their conference and plays somebody during the regular season here during conference play, it's fun to tune in and watch. And certainly I think there's a lot of history in that UConn Notre Dame game. So I'm excited for that one. As I mentioned before, though, I'm like overly excited to see how Vandy and Michigan lock up today. I just think this is like a battle of the brains, right? Like I just think these two programs, these two schools are on the rise right now. Michigan is on the scene for women's basketball, really more than they ever have been as a program, and same with Vandy. So like I just think like to see them match up against each other, they're kind of on that same trajectory, and I'm excited to see how they duke it out. I think this one's going to be an absolute battle to the finish, so I'm excited for that one. I think we're going to see a lot of good basketball in that game. Shea Ralph, I think, has done a ton for Vandy and what she brings, her IQ that she brings, her mentality. You and I were talking, she was like, she's got kind of that Dawn mentality where she's not backing down. She's fearless. I just think that's going to be a great game. I'm excited to watch some of the Michigan personnel in this one. Obviously, Michaela, is it Michaela? Yeah, Michaela Blakes. Obviously, Michaela Blakes for Vandy is just phenomenal. We mentioned number 3 player in the country. So Michigan's got a matchup problem there. They're going to figure out how to slow her down. But on the Michigan side, they've got a lot of scoring with Silas Swords and Olsen. And I just think it's a great matchup up and down. So I'm just super excited about that one today.
Thursday, we're going to go on a Thursday, Sunday. We're highlighting some games again. Those seems to be the days for women's basketball. January 22nd, number 11, Iowa plays number 12, Maryland at 6 p.m. Eastern. I think this will be a good game. Maryland's on the bounce back. Iowa's, kind of taking names and playing good ball. I think this will be a good one just to see the overall competition level and how they duke it out. Number 7, Kentucky plays number 20, Tennessee at 6:30 Eastern. Again, Tennessee coming off a close win with Alabama there, but Kentucky on a bounce back from a loss. So you never really know. Different styles of play here for both these teams. So it's definitely going to be a defensive focused battle. And then the last one on Thursday is number 2, South Carolina playing number 13, Oklahoma at 7:30 Eastern. I think this one's going to be important for Oklahoma to get a win, or at least overall start looking like themselves and get back in the confidence column. South Carolina, as we mentioned, is rolling. But I think Thursday is going to be a great day for women's basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. Ton of really good conference matchups. I'm excited. We take a little bit of a break, like Vandy playing Michigan, Notre Dame playing UConn, Ohio State playing TCU on Monday. We've got like Martin Luther King Day going on. So there's some good shifts there. And then Thursday, we're right back in it, right back into conference play, certainly into Sunday also. So let's go.
Yep. And Sunday, number 14, Ohio State plays number 11, Iowa at 2 p.m. Eastern. And number 5, Vandy plays number 2, South Carolina at 3 p.m. Eastern. All in all, some of these teams coming in here for double ranked games per week. I think that's going to be pretty tough. Ohio State and Vandy absolutely have a lot on their plate, as well as Iowa. So all in all, I think we're going to have another full week of tuning in and trying to catch up and report back all the news and all the games and highlights we should have tuned into within the past week.
I'm super excited. A lot of great games, to your point, coming up here. Well, I think we can go ahead and conclude. Thank you, Beck. What an awesome episode. Really appreciate everyone who's listening and sending in questions. Send in those questions. We're going to have a huddle coming up here at some point, probably in the next couple weeks. So send in any questions you have. Follow us on social media. And once again, appreciate everyone tuning in.
Yep. Thanks, everybody. And thanks, Sid. We will chat with you later.
Okay. Talk soon. Have a good one, Beck.
See you, Sid. That's the 28.5 final buzzer for today's episode. Don't forget to hit follow and download on your preferred podcast platform to catch every play-by-play. New episodes drop each week throughout the season.
If you've enjoyed our courtside chat, drop us a review or follow us on our social media accounts where you can send us questions that may be selected for our Team Huddle Q&A episodes. And remember, from females who have played the game, the size of the ball matters.